Do you ever feel like when you pray that your prayers don't get beyond the ceiling of your house? Do you ever feel alienated from God, like God doesn't care? I have. Even as a Christian, I've sometimes wondered if God cares when I'm going through difficult times. That's why I'm so glad that Jesus is not only a prophet, Jesus is also my priest. The concept of priest comes from the Old Testament. There was an ancient man named Job. He lost his family. He lost his wealth. He lost his health. He was covered with boils. He was sitting on an ash heap. And he felt like God had abandoned him. And he felt alienated from God. And he cried out at one point, he cried out, if only I had someone who would be a mediator between God and me. And in the ancient Hebrew language, he was literally saying, if only I had someone who would put a hand on my shoulder and a hand on God's shoulder and bring us together. That's what a priest does. A priest represents his people before God. He puts a hand on the shoulder of those people he's praying for. And he puts a hand on God's shoulder. And through prayer, he brings them together. The Bible says that Jesus is our high priest. It says that we don't have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who's been tempted in every way that we've been tempted. So he cares about us. And so when he goes before his Father and he pleads our case before his Father, he does so with passion and with sympathy. The New Testament, in the book of Hebrews, calls Jesus our intercessor, our great high priest. The Bible says he lives to make intercession for us. Do you wonder where Jesus is today? The Bible tells us that Jesus sits at the right hand of God the Father on the same throne that God sits on. For Jesus and his Father are one. And as Jesus is there before his Father, he's praying for you. He's praying for me. He's pleading our case with our Father because he's our priest. And because of that, you can know that God cares about your problem, that he's going to fix your problem in his time and in his way. And when he does it, it's going to be perfect. Because Jesus is your high priest. You can say with the Apostle Paul in the book of Romans, I know that in all things God works together for my good because he loves me and I've been called according to his purpose.